So, as you know, India Landry took on the state of Texas in a case that really should never have gone to court. At least you do know this if you've seen my previous video or you've followed the news around this case. For those of you who don't, let's quickly backpedal. Essentially, this comes down to the Pledge of Allegiance in the US. This is something that a lot of people hold sacrosanct. They view it as, like, respect for the flag, and I get it, all right? I do. I understand respecting the flag and the country as important, and Americans seem to be far more about this than Australians are. The thing about it, though, is you can't force those things. Totalitarian regimes often try. Nazi Germany did this. All the goose-stepping and imposed, you must do this in this way at this time. That doesn't get you respect or law and order. It gets you fear. It gets you parrot talking. It doesn't actually get you respect. So it seems odd that that's the route that's been chosen. It's an imposition. It's something that people will do because of obedience and a requirement, but it's not respect. It's not loyalty. And yeah, it happens that Texas is one of the states in the union where school kids are required to once or twice a day, sometimes more depending on the school, stand up and give the Pledge of Allegiance if it is played over the loudspeaker. And that's fine. If that's the rule of the school, then that's what you do. And if you're a young child, obviously you don't question it. But once you get to high school, once you get to 17, 18, and you've learned your history, you've learned politics, there'll be a point where you start to question this. If you've got an understanding of history, and if in the case of Miss Landry, you are a person of colour. Because being told that the flag represents justice, liberty, truth, freedom, fairness, equality, and then seeing black people rounded up by the police and harassed by the police and shot and killed by the police just for being black makes it very hard to stomach those same things. And that's what this came down to. She didn't buy into the idea that the flag represented what she was told it did. And 286 times prior to the incident in question, she refused to stand and take the Pledge of Allegiance. And then a sports person of colour knelt during the Pledge of Allegiance at the Super Bowl, and Donald Trump, famed for being tolerant, tweeted that it was anti-patriotic, and the white and Republican principal of Miss Landry's school decided to make something of it, and that's what led to her getting expelled. And I'm sorry to say that the case has been found against her. The Attorney General got involved, Ken Paxton. It was time for him to get re-elected, and he needed something to, really fire up all of his Republican supporters. And yeah, he has made it all about loyalty to the flag and all that, flag-waving bullshit. And now Miss Landry has been branded as unpatriotic and anti-American, and the case was found against her. And worse than that, and I'll do a video about it another time, people are declaring that this has nothing to do with race. And it has everything to do with race. Especially when you realise that the school told her to simply write a paper about black justice whatever that is, since I thought it was justice for all, regardless of differences, and submit that as her protest and just keep doing the Pledge of Allegiance anyway. And considering when she was expelled, it was one female black student in a room with two white authority figures. Like there's, and all this was triggered by a sports person of colour who was branded unpatriotic by a white president. You can't look at this and come away with the conclusion that race doesn't play a part unless you are either racist and not wanting to see it, or you don't know how to actually, take in the details and see it for what it is. And it just, I don't know, I'm baffled and I'm saddened. I was actually hopeful that maybe this case would go the way it should. It didn't. And I am really concerned for the future of the United States at this point.